Hello, everyone, and welcome to Majesty Sussex Report. I am on location presently. I don't know why I get myself convinced that I should do these things. The camera's not on me right now because I'm supposed to go into this place, but I don't want to do this. What's that? Hi, hello. Hello. Oh no. I think I want out of here. Where is the van? What? Oh, I think I see someone come. Oh, what's that? What's that? What does we have here? Welcome to my domain. I am no one. You don't have anything. You don't have anything. I'm no one. I'm nothing. I'm not here. You're not seeing what you're seeing. I'm not here. I see you. You have nowhere to run. You get any closer to me, and I swear I am gonna choose. Okay, listen. Calm down. Let's concentrate on your inner feelings. What is bothering you? Don't get closer. Don't get closer. Let's just go back to the studio, Nova. Tell them about the history of Halloween.
Halloween, as it is celebrated today, has evolved over centuries and has its roots in a combination of ancient Celtic, Roman, and Christian traditions. Here's a quick history of the celebration of Halloween. Celtic origins. The origins of Halloween can be traced back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, which was celebrated around November 1st. Samhain marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It was believed that on the night before Samhain, October 31st, the boundary between the living and the dead was blurred, allowing spirits to roam the earth. Roman influence. When the Romans conquered Celtic territories, some of their customs merged with Samhain. One such Roman festival was Feralia, a day in late October when Romans commemorated the passing of the dead. Christian influence. In the 7th century, Pope Boniface IV established All Saints' Day on November 1st to honor Christian saints and martyrs. To Christianize the Celtic celebration of Samhain, the Catholic Church moved All Saints' Day to coincide with it. The evening before All Saints' Day became known as All Hallows' Eve, eventually shortened to Halloween. Medieval traditions. During the Middle Ages, Halloween in Europe was a time for various customs and rituals. People believed that wearing costumes and masks would protect them from malevolent spirits. Trick-or-treating may have originated from a practice called souling, where the poor would visit homes, offering prayers for the deceased in exchange for food. Immigration to America. Halloween was brought to North America by Irish and Scottish immigrants in the 19th century. Over time, it blended with Native American and other European traditions. Modern Halloween. Halloween as we know it today took shape in the United States in the early 20th century. It became a holiday characterized by dressing in costumes, carving pumpkins into jack-o'-lanterns, and engaging in various activities like haunted houses and trick-or-treating. Commercialization. Halloween has become a highly commercialized holiday, with the sale of costumes, decorations, and candy reaching billions of dollars annually. It is also celebrated in many countries around the world, although customs and traditions may vary. Today, Halloween is a fun and festive holiday where people of all ages enjoy dressing up, attending parties, and participating in spooky activities. While its origins are rooted in ancient traditions, it has evolved into a celebration that combines elements of superstition, creativity, and community. Back to you, Antonio.
Thank you, Nova. Okie dokie macaroni. I guess I got bitten or something. So I guess I'm some kind of vampire or something for 24 hours, they say. Well, let me see what kind of powers I've got, because if I got any, I'm just going to fly myself home, and I'll see you folks there in just a few minutes. Okay, how do I fly? How do I get these wings or something? Hey, over there, how do I turn into a bat? Okay, well, welcome. I'm finally back in my domain, I guess. What do you folks think? check out. That was kind of fun to do. Welcome once again, everyone, to Majesty Sussex Report. I am Antonio, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here and for you to be granted me the gift of your time. So we can hang out and learn some stuff, chat a little bit. Well, the chat is a little bit one-sided because I'm the one talking, and leave me your messages in the comments area. I do read all of them, and if I'm able to respond, I actually do. And sometimes I will do some of them, and then I'll take a break because I have other things to do. So if you see I've responded to a couple and I haven't responded to all of them, it's just that I try to take a break from if I'm not able to respond to all of them at the same time, okay? But please do subscribe to the channel if this is your first time coming to hang out with us. We are happy to have you here. We have rules, and the main one is this is a space for positive thoughts. This is a space where we encourage each other. This is a space where negativity and all of that, we don't need it. We don't want it because it does nothing. And if you're one of those people who are coming here because you think you're going to affect me with comments that you're going to make about the Sussexes or anyone, right? Or you're going to bring some kind of made up facts or something, it's not going to affect me. Because I am centered in who I am and the spirit that I carry and my intentions. I come from a good place, and my intention is to just do that. You should analyze and you should think about where you're coming from, and if you're okay and comfortable with the person that you are being. Because if you came to my channel to write or leave hateful things, hateful thought, or trying to prove a point, I don't know what point you're proving, because I'm not going to your channel or going to your anything to respond back, right? Listen, hate has power. And the power that it has is that when it inhabits you, it eats away at everything that is of value and decency. You get what I'm saying here? So I don't deal in that environment, in that space. I like the positive space. I'm not saying that we don't look at what's happening in the news, what's happening with the royals, and have an objective eye to it and criticize or compliment, right? But I don't go around hating and calling people names and all that kind of stuff. So if you're here to do that, I will kindly show you the exit and you know how to get out. Thank you for dropping by. But if you're not here to do that, if you're actually just to be entertained a little bit or learn some things or have an open heart and soul and willing to kind of look at things differently than what you thought they were before, you're more than welcome to stay, hang out with us. And if at the end you found the content entertaining or you kind of liked it a little bit or a lot or not at all, still subscribe and thumbs up. And you can always leave a comment too. Okay. So today I am excited because we finally, with the Byline Times articles, we are going to tackle the one that actually talks directly about Dan Wootton and his influence and so on. So, and after that, there is another article that we're going to but discuss a little bit. So, I'm not going to do a big preamble or anything like that. I said, let's just. I did want to ask actually. So, who celebrates Halloween? What kind of costumes do you wear? Because I've always been curious about the things, and so some people are obsessed with Halloween. I'm not one of them. Not even when I was a kid. Like, I didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't fancy it. It was sort of like, oh, I was here, all right, okay, great. Not to say I wouldn't, I don't know, put some kind of costume on or something. Actually, this is not funny at all, but I am I'm living up to my name. The guy who starts out with like one topic and then he switches to something different and switches back. Listen, you folks are still here. You're still being entertained. So stay. What grade was I in? Was I in grade 10, I think? And one of my friends, she wanted to do her birthday on Halloween. So we all kind of, but I didn't really have a costume or anything, and I didn't feel like going to get one. So I kept thinking, okay, what could I do that is not gonna like cost a lot of money or something? And I was like, I know our school has these like traditional costumes and stuff that we use in like you have a cultural dance or play or anything like that. And so I went to the head professor. Oh, I'm not going to say his name. I went to him and I said, I would like to borrow one of the costumes, blah, blah, blah. This is what it's for. And he's like, okay, no problem. Go ahead. So I had this sort of samurai costume, and it was supposed to symbolize like the last samurai, like the dying days of the samurai. So I was supposed to be quote unquote like the last samurai, and I have the sword like in my stomach or whatever, and I've basically ended myself, right? And so we had a party, and it's all fun, great, wonderful, had a great time. I think it was like on the Monday, back in school, one of my favorite teachers saw some of the pictures from the party, and she pulled me aside with concern, and she said, Antonio, I'm like, yeah. She goes, so I saw some pictures. You were at, insert the person's name, and birthday party. I said, yeah, it was so much fun. And she looks at me like this puzzled look, and I kept thinking, what is this woman going to say to me? Because what did I do? I'm thinking, did I do something? I don't know. So she goes, are you trying to be white? Yeah. That, like, I went completely silent. It's like, they didn't silence me, I just went silent. And I looked at her after and I said, what? She goes, are you trying to be white? And she is a white woman from, doesn't matter. And I said, no, Professor, I'm not trying to be white. Why would you think that? She goes, I saw your pictures and you have like a white face. I said, oh my gosh. I said, no, that's not white face. I said, that's like the dying samurai. Like I'm like my you get pale, and I said, do you see the marks on the face, meaning like the blood and the thing and the whole blood stain on. I said that means like I'm dead, or I could be like a zombie samurai. I said I'm not trying to be white. Like, does that even make any sense? So she was concerned, like honestly concerned. She was like, I just thought that, you're having identity crisis and this is the way you're handling it. And I just thought, okay, listen, sometimes a book is just a book, and sometimes a pencil is just a pencil. And I wasn't trying to. I do know, folks. I do know there's actually a saying that it's the card, right? You say a something, it's just a something, and it comes from like cards, playing cards. But I've recently found out that that is an offensive term to use because it was used on some indigenous peoples. So I don't use it anymore. Anyways, that was one of the Halloween experiences that I was just completely blown away. And I became very super conscious that, someone thought that I was trying to be white. Well, I have been accused once in a while. They're like, oh my gosh, you've been so white, right? That I told you. I'm like, well, I do have white heritage. So sometimes I'll say something that you think is very white. And I'm just freaking human, man. I hang out with a bunch of white people, I speak like them. I hang out with you people, I start speaking like you. So listen, I'm just multicultural. Just put me somewhere and I'll get along with the people and I'll be fine. So that's it. Let's get to that article. And in the comments, do leave me messages though. Like if you do dress up or if you have big parties. Like as I said, one of my friends, she loves Halloween. And last year she had her last Halloween party. She said, "Okay, this is it. No more." So it was incredible. It was a really fun night, and now we have some money, so we so we all went and rented costumes. Ay, ay, ay. Hit it.
Byline Times Wootton allegations unfounded. BBC producer tells MP in an exchange on BBC Radio 4's PM programme, John Nicholson was shut down by Evan Davis when he mentioned this newspaper's special investigation into the now suspended GB News presenter Dan Wootton. Hardeep Matharu reports. BBC producer informed an MP interviewed by the broadcaster about GB News' suspension of Dan Wootton that he was not allowed to discuss the allegations in Byline Times' investigation into the presenter because they were unfounded. SNP MP John Nicholson, a member of the House of Commons Culture, Media and Sport Committee, was interviewed by Evan Davis for BBC Radio 4's PM show in September, following Wootton's suspension from GB News in a misogyny storm, along with actor-turned-activist Lawrence Fox. The topic focused on how regulator Ofcom should respond to the broadcaster. On the show, Mr. Nicholson said, "I was very interested in the investigation by Byline Times into Dan Wootton. It was a very good piece before Mr. Davis intervened and said I don't want to go into unrelated issues." Mr. Davis then asked Mr. Nicholson whether there was a danger that his views amounted to wanting to censor channels which give a platform to opinions he doesn't like, to which the MP replied, "I don't want censorship, I want Ofcom to enforce its own rules. And the point I was going to make is, you said the channel had responded by suspending Dan Wootton. There have been serious accusations about Dan Wootton for some time, which have received remarkably little coverage in the press, and which are worthy of investigation." Mr. Davis responded by saying, "Well, that's not what we're discussing here." To which Mr. Nicholson said, Well, it's relevant because he's a presenter on the channel and he's now been suspended. We'll leave it there, close quote, was how Mr. Davis then ended the interview. Byline Times' special investigation into Wootton exposed allegations that he used fake online identities to obtain compromising sexual material on a number of men. Although he has never denied being, or being connected to, the identities of Martin Branning and Maria Joseph, Wootton denies criminality. After the PM exchange, Mr. Nicholson said he thought it was odd behavior by the BBC presenter and that he had never experienced anything quite like it in a BBC interview. As a former journalist and MP, he said there was no danger in him saying anything potentially libelous because of his knowledge of the law and media. Byline Times understands that, after the program aired, a producer contacted Mr. Nicholson to explain that the show did not want to discuss this NEWS1 paper's allegations because they are unfounded. The MP questioned this, saying the investigation is detailed and well-sourced, and against which Wootton has not taken any legal action. Indeed, as a result of the investigation, Wootton's former employer, News UK, hired independent legal counsel Kingsley Napley LLP to conduct an investigation into the allegations. Mainline had already paused his column pending an investigation because of the allegations. Wootton was later sacked after the GB News misogyny storm. And subsequent to the PM program's airing, the Metropolitan Police revealed it is now investigating the allegations. A BBC spokesperson did not explain why the show's producer told Mr. Nicholson that the allegations were unfounded. They said, "The nature of live news programs and a packed news agenda often means we have limited time to cover stories." In this instance, the discussion focused on GB News, its place in the broadcasting landscape and regulation by Ofcom, in light of the comments made by Lawrence Fox on the channel. We did not have time to explore beyond this subject matter, which would have required further context and explanation for listeners. Mr. Nicholson's PM interview was scheduled to last 3 minutes, and this newspaper understands that the BBC's official position is that it would have needed much more time to explore the details of Byline Times allegations to provide context, and Wootton with a right of reply. Byline Times Wootton allegations unfounded. BBC producer tells MP in an exchange on BBC Radio 4's PM programme, John Nicholson was shut down by Evan Davis when he mentioned this newspaper's special investigation into the now suspended GB News presenter Dan Wootton. Cast your mind back to when you had a big idea, one you thought could be your big break. Some procrastinate, and then there is me and my group of friends. We put our entire life into our idea and never expected it to end in tears of panic and the threat of being sued for the little money we had left. That's the story of Democracy Unlocked, a project a group of passionate readers turned writers put everything into. The story of when we saw a gap in the market for honest reporting, not dodging the facts but heading straight for them, no matter what the political dynamics at play. We saw it as our duty to give our readers the truth. We invested everything in this. It wasn't even about just the money, but the relentless hours brainstorming our next big idea, passionate and full of energy at any hour of the day, hoping that our readers would come to love our passion for the truth, something that has recently been lost in translation. We didn't want to fit into a political box, but to be bold and honest in everything we did. Part of that was looking for the real story, the one nobody would mention, so we decided to publish the story of Dan Wootton. We saw it as our duty to look into the Byline Times revelations and compile them for our readers in an easy to follow format. We did our due diligence, reached out directly to Wootton, and gave him a very fair deadline, hoping we could get his response in. He had previously told Byline Times he denied criminality, but didn't deny being, or being connected to, fake online identities. The deadline passed and nothing hit our inbox. Finally, it came through. But it wasn't what we usually received. It was a law firm. We were shocked as we hadn't dealt with this before. Our naivety showed. It felt like we had been slapped into place. But I had a gut feeling we still needed to publish, so I responded to the email and thanked the law firm for its response. At this stage, I didn't seriously consider Wootton would want to take action against a small site. It just seemed so unlikely. We were wrong. We wrote to Wootton's representatives again, giving them a very fair deadline of 48 hours. This was a story progressing minute by minute, and we knew we didn't have long to give our readers the rundown. We wanted a response as quickly as possible and tried everything possible to reach his representatives, emailing 5 people for one comment. We didn't want to deny Wootton the opportunity to comment. Then came another legal letter, this time harsher, basically telling us we had no right to publish, and there was no public interest in the allegations, despite Wootton trending for days across social media, but no established media outlet reporting on them. After the second letter, things changed. We went into total panic mode. This project we had put our own money and felt like the reason we could end up in court would admire, and for what? That they might not telling agree with everything we published or even respect like the facts as presented about every day, but they would admire us for expressing the freedom we had to click publish. Time and time again, we would receive letter after letter and threat after threat. We started to not even pay attention to them. Again, our naivety showed. After a while, when I think they sensed us giving up caring about their letters, the tone completely changed. It went from a gentle slap to a giant punch in the mouth. Wootton's representatives sent us a very worrying letter that made us certain we were about to be dragged through the legal system. At this point, we knew it was right to look into finding a solicitor. We already had people volunteering in our group who had good legal knowledge, and their advice changed from calm to panic. We rang every firm local to us, trying to find one we could afford. We are so young compared with the people up against us. We are not from privileged backgrounds. We had to work for every penny we had. That's why our site meant the world to us. We put our hard-earned cash into it, and the thought of that being the reason we also lost everything had us in tears. But we knew we had nothing in terms of resources compared with Wootton. He not only had a giant platform of people who we knew would come for us, but also money we could only dream of. A legal case could have put every one of us in financial trouble. So we felt we had no option. The legal letters, the threats, our website even being hacked briefly, network attacks, and the panic of thinking we had no chance of defeating this man, we had to let go of the site we loved. It felt so somber, but it was the only way we could all walk away without legal battles. It was Dan Wootton who promised his viewers no spin, no bias, and no censorship, but it was ultimately the people who wanted to achieve such goals that ended up silenced. Democracy Locked was set up to unlock the truth that is still going unheard. And now it is gone. Back to you, Antonio.
Thank you, Grayson. Hey, Grayson, are you dressing up for Halloween?
What do you think? I'm looking for my Meghan.
Are you serious? Are you honestly serious? Well, good luck finding your Meghan, Grayson. Okay, thank you. So here's my my academic commentary on the whole thing. The Byline Times investigation into Wootton and the subsequent handling of its allegations by the BBC and Democracy Unlocked reflects a broader issue: the suppression of less dominant voices in media. When prominent figures are subjected to investigative journalism, the reactions are not always in favor of free speech or open dialogue, as this situation suggests. It's worth noting that Wootton, with his significant platform and resources, effectively suppressed a smaller media outlet narrative. Democracy Unlocked, shut down after attempting to discuss Wootton's actions, encapsulates the challenges that independent journalism faces. It's a stark reminder that even in an era boasting of free speech and digital democratization, big word for me, I had to slow down there, power dynamics still play a significant role. Moreover, the BBC handling of these allegations during their MP program interview, cutting off discussions and labeling the allegations as unfounded, raises questions about impartiality and the potential influence of power and politics in editorial decisions. As a consumer of media, we need to critically examine these dynamics and push for transparency, fairness, and the right to hold power accountable. Irrespective of the size of the platform or the influence of the individual, The suppression of discussions around controversial figures is not merely a slight against journalistic ethics, but it is an affront to our own democracy. Now for my street commentary. What the heck does this guy have on these people? And I can't stop thinking that what he's got on these people is what Byline already told us. These secret tapes that he would take. Like, what? You have to be, actually, I don't know if you have to be low. You have to have a sort of sinister mindset and with intent of causing damage, causing harm. Now, here's my other question. With all of this stuff that has come out, it took the Metropolitan Police this long to say, okay, well, we're going to open an investigation on this dude now. Let me tell you something. I think you folks know what I'm going to say. If it was one of us, if it was like someone that did not look like Dan Wootton, would have been in jail a long time ago. Not only would be in jail a long time ago, but we would have had the BBC, ITV, QCTV, NWA, all of them, the channels even that we don't know of, would have been broadcasting our pictures, our names, 24 hours for like an entire week or more. And all the aggrieved people would just tell their sad stories about, he did this to me, he did it. All these accusations came out. Even his ex-partner, right? Like, people actually wanted to do some good, and they came out, they put their names online, and they said, here's my story. And nothing happened. The guy continued to broadcast his venom on his show, inviting that latrine lady or whatever, and just continued on this nonsense. So it's evident to me, and I'm sure to all of you, that there is that sort of secret, shut your mouth, don't say anything, blackmail, he knows stuff. Remember when the reporter that came forth and she said, some of these politicians and whatever, you'd find them at swingers parties and, or doing these other things, unseedy things. I think I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I do not care if for you to get your rocks off, you do whatever you need to do, as long as it's consenting, as long as it's not affecting anyone else. Go do you. Make yourself happy, right? I mean, sex and sexuality is part of our existence. We're human beings. That's how we reproduce, but also that's the way we get pleasure. So if you want to wear latex and leather and stuff like that and go to a leather bar and have some fun, or be spanked or flogged or whatever is your kink, do it. Be happy about it. But for you to be hiding in the shadows, and then for manipulative people like Dan Wootton, and I'm sure others, have these things against you. Because this is not just about gossiping this is about our security. It's about these politicians and others having these mega secrets. And foreign governments can also say, hey, by the way. So they're exposing themselves to being blackmailed by foreign governments. They're being exposing themselves that big companies can make them do. I mean, big companies already make these idiots do whatever they want, right? Because the people who run today for office or are in politics, they're not from the people, right? Because they've made it so hard even to start running for anything. It costs so much money. Look at the US. It costs, I mean, close to what now, $1 billion in order for you to run a campaign? Like, it's ridiculous. So no common folk can actually try and run for most things. I mean, people would say, oh, well, run for your local district this or your local district that. Yeah, okay, fine. But that is still going to cost a lot of money, number one. And number two, when I was 10 and I needed to urinate and I was running through a park and I couldn't hold it in anymore, so I went behind a tree, all of a sudden, it's going to be front news in the newspaper of the local community. He has always been littering as a child. He urinated on this old tree. Like, I don't understand why we can't think broadly and understand truly right from wrong. Because the way also Democracy Unlocked was trying to just, and I can just picture it because I actually did not the same thing, but something similar with a group of friends of mine, because we love to travel. So every time we travel, we get immersed in the culture, and there's so much that we learn. So we thought, instead of these glossy kind of magazines and stuff, maybe we should do something that is more down to earth, but at the same time, not like we're jumping in trenches or something. Like, there's the earthy people, and then there's like the luxury people. Like, we wanted to show somewhere kind of in the middle where there are places we go and we stay in, pension, smaller, sort of like hostel places, and we would save up towards the end and stay in somewhere really nice, but bring all of that, how you can travel a certain way without having to mortgage your home. But at the same time, how can you really be an authentic traveler if you're looking for authenticity and not falling into every tourist trap? Finding a balance between that. Like, if you go to Paris for the first time, like, you're not going to avoid La Tour Eiffel, right? You're not going to be like, I did not want to see that. It's not, no. You're going to be like, hey, all right, that's the Eiffel Tower. Cool. Right? You go, you see it, you've done it. It's a touristy thing to do. You go to Le Champs-Élysées, touristy thing to do. But then there's other really cool things you can actually do that are not touristy. So finding that combination, we thought, we're gonna try and do it. So it was 7 of us. Number one, it was a lot of work. We had no experience in what we were doing. And we didn't get very far because it's amazing how much money it takes to get anything off the ground. And once we realized, not only that we had pitched in already sort of our own money, but then how much more it would take to get it off the ground, the ideas we had, we're like, yeah, maybe later in life we'll try it again. But, these people who have a passion, right, wanted to look at the stories that the big conglomerates and these big broadcasters are not looking at, and we wonder why they're not. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. And they're shut down by this piece of... I'm going to censor myself. this hater, yeah, I guess allegedly. It's just sad to think of all of the stories that we don't know, all of the people that have been silenced, all of the people that harm has come their way because they wanted to be honest or they wanted to expose things that would be beneficial for us as a species to kind of advance, because the people who are running around with power and have influence, so many of them, they're so corrupt. They're in the trenches with the devil. They are, when you're in a pigsty and surrounded by shit, at the beginning you kind of know it, right? You're sort of like, it kind of stinks around here. Oh my gosh, I'm in. But the longer you stay, you get used to the stench. I think this is what happens to these people. Their moral compass just goes away. Even, the on episodes before, when the journalist that came out to sort of say, her and her partner that they had the assignment to look and see if Prince Harry was doing cocaine and all that kind of stuff. Like, listen, part of me really wants to think that it was done by the goodness of the person's heart. But there's another part of me that is going, you're just trying to kind of like wishy-washy. You're like, either you feeling super guilty now, or you're just like, oh, I need to like clear up my name a little bit, even though we don't know exactly who it is. We don't have a name, but I'm sure within that circle, everyone knows who it is, because as we know, in the UK, it's a very small kind of circle of people who are from a certain class that get these jobs. So it just amazes me. I mean, Martin Brown, Maria Joseph. Isn't he a pretty Maria Joseph? Like, come on, you sexy thing. And nothing. For the longest time, they did absolutely nothing. And for the BBC. So, call us like crazy. But when these things align, you kind of go, yeah, it's all sort of, and it's not a conspiracy anything, because I've heard conspiracy stuff, and those are wild. I'm like, all right, you're kind of going too far now. You had me at hello, but after that, I was like, nah, nope. What? The spaceship. Oh, okay. And then, oh, yes. Okay, I have to go now. Yes, thank you. No, it's okay. I have to go. Thanks. You see, when people start to get to like, I was like, why do you believe this? How do you believe this? Why do you think this is real? It's just, and there's so much more, I think, that we don't know, and we're not going to know. Because I think this stuff goes deep. It goes deep, right? Because when you have them saying, "Oh well, it was for the story. We just didn't want. We only booked him for like 3 minutes, and we wanted just to talk about GB News." Really? You have this big story that is happening about this bigger than life personality, and you, as a news outlet, you are going to skip the opportunity to discuss it because you have pre-programmed, well, we're already discussing this. So tell me something, BBC. When a war breaks out in some country, or something happens in regards to, someone gets injured or bombing, or who knows, maybe the king slipped a little bit and fell. would you not talk about that? Or would you say, I'm sorry, we don't want to talk about that. We need to stick to what we said we would talk about, which is how do dolphins sing to each other? Are you for real? No, honestly, are you for real? And you think that we should believe that? We should believe that. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but you believe that you silenced, right, MP Nicholson because I'm trying to emphasize there, because you're only supposed to talk about GB News. As Nicholson said, well, isn't he working for GB News? Doesn't he have a show? Shouldn't we talk about it? Oh. Here's another thing. I'm going to touch on this briefly because we have to shut this segment. I'm running too much now. Why would they? And get to the next thing. But there is more. I think there is more there. I think there is more. I don't know, but the streets are talking. That's all I'm saying. The streets are talking. I think there is more. And this whole thing about why William would be serving up his brother and sister-in-law and his nephew this way. Dude, what's the secret? Because if it's about you liking guys also, right? Like if you're bi or something, are you freaking kidding me again? Once again, I don't care. I would say 90% of the population does not care. It's that 10% that just like, people are like, yeah, God made blah, blah. Listen, just go sit down, right? And here I'm going to quote Whoopi, because sometimes I have my ups and downs with Whoopi Goldberg. Sometimes I'm like, I love her. And other times I'm like, Whoopi, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? But this is something where I loved her for. This is what Whoopi has said. She goes, if you're against abortion, don't have an abortion. But don't go telling other people what to do with their bodies and their lives. Right? You don't like gay people? Then don't sleep or fall in love with someone of the same gender. Right? But don't tell other people who they can fall in love with, who they can take into their bed, and what, just don't. It's none of your damn business. Right? You're against abortion? Don't have one. You're against homosexuality? Then don't be gay. But let people live their lives. That's their life. It's not yours. Stop meddling in other people's lives. And that is where I have a problem. My problem is when you start to meddle in other people's lives and put them in danger because you want to either cover up something or you need to you're ashamed of your own identity or sexuality or whatever, that's a problem. You know, they say hurt people. Did you get that? I know you folks did. Hurt people. William, you're hurt, man. You're really hurt. You know, I kept thinking, Prince Harry is like, I've been doing my therapy, I've been doing my stuff, and actually, I think in the book, he said William at some point suggested, yeah, you should talk to someone, whatever. Who has William been talking to? Because he should fire his freaking therapist then, because his therapist is not doing a good job. Or unless his therapist is like some Machiavellic person. Oh, question. Have you folks watched, I know it's been a while now, Bridgerton? No, so it wasn't Bridgerton. It was Prince. No, Charlotte. Charlotte. Yes, Charlotte. Man, that series, that got me. Like, there's this episode where Charlotte is looking for the king, and he's being basically tortured by this freaking therapist, this like psychologist, whatever. And I understand in those times they were trying to figure out things, but he was mean. He was cruel. It was cruelty what he was doing. Let's face that. And she walked in and she said, "Get out! Get off the king!" And oh, the power in that, and just everything. And when she said to the therapist, she's like, "You are lucky I don't have you." Basically, you know what I mean? Such a good, oh gosh, I love Bridgerton. Listen, I love me some Bridgerton. Damn. And that end scene, for anyone who watches Bridgerton, that end scene, man, that end scene of the two of them under the bed, baby Jesus. I was like, and then I started to call my friends. I was like, "Did you guys watch it?" They're like, "Watch what?" Anyways, my point being, in all seriousness, right? When, what, and who you are, you need to hide and then cause harm to others, that's a problem. You need to dig deep, because no kingdom, no throne, no robes, none of that crap is worth somebody else's life. And not only one, but three people. I don't care what your shame is, that's your freaking shame. And if you want to label it a shame, whatever it is, that is your problem. Don't come and exercise your anger and your it's just disgusting. Because if it comes out that ultimately it's either this or you know what? Anything else, as a matter of fact. Anything else. What is so scandalous that his father, the king, agrees to put Harry, Meghan, Archie, Lilibet was not here yet with us, life in danger. And I'll never forgive them. I mean, it's not my family, right? But I'll tell you, when Meghan lost that kid, that I was freaking angry. That scene, man, when Harry talks about it, and Meghan's friend talks about it, these people are evil. Evil. Because I do not understand how William, knowing what his mother went through, knowing he does this. Allegedly. None, no kingdom, no crown, no throne, no castle, no palace. What are you afraid of? You know, we live in a society today where people are most people, I would say, are willing to learn, even willing to forgive a comeback story. But you wanted to punish. I don't know, man. It's very disturbing, to be quite honest. All right, wrapping this part up, and let's go to the next article I wanted you folks to hear about.
Thank you, Antonio. The article was written by Nell Frizzell, updated on February 24, 2021. As we walked out of my 12-week scan, shaking and lightheaded, I turned to my partner and said, "But, you know, that whole screen could just be a video, the same video they show to everyone. We'd never know." Before getting pregnant, I was in the extremely lucky position of having no long-term or ongoing illnesses, physical or mental. Being pregnant threw me into such deep whirlpools of anxiety that, more than once, I genuinely wondered if I was pregnant at all. With a kind of uneasy thrill, I read about Queen Mary's phantom pregnancy of 1555 and wondered if I, too, had conjured this sickness, this thickening around the middle, this halt in my periods through hormonal changes, maternal longing, and unchecked delusion alone. I did 3 pregnancy tests, went for all the right scans, and yet, until my tiny purple son pushed out into the bathing pool of an East London birth center, there was still a part of me that wondered if I was having a baby at all. So it was with a strange mix of horror, distaste, sympathy, and fatigue that I learned of the Meghan moon bump theories circulating on the internet. In particularly dank and unpleasant corners of YouTube, Reddit, and the like, anonymous strangers have built videos, threads, and illustrated essays expanding on the crackpot theory that Meghan Markle is, in fact, not pregnant, but wearing a strap-on rubber belly, has employed a surrogate, or is otherwise faking it. In fact, global searches for Meghan Markle fake pregnancy are up 1,650% in the last 90 days. And Meghan Markle fake bump is up 4,400%. There are 2 parts to this strange phenomenon. Firstly, Meghan Markle is a woman of color. Secondly, she is a member of the royal family. The first part is significant. In every illustration in almost every single pregnancy and birth book, on every pregnancy test box, in all our tampon, nappy, and breast pump adverts, on every online advice column, at every NCT class, and in every medical diagram, the woman and her baby we are exposed to is white. In Britain, we simply are not publicly familiar with what pregnancy, birth, and newborns look like for women of color. It is a silence, created by capitalism, convention, and unconscious bias. When similar rumors centered around Beyoncé or Serena Williams, it was, outright racism and loony online conspiracies aside, perhaps the result of people simply not knowing what a pregnant woman of color, the birth of a baby of color, will look and be like. This becomes dangerous when, as we've seen in the recent UK confidential inquiry into maternal deaths, the chances of death for Black women in childbirth, 1 in 2,500, is 5 times higher than that of white women. As Dr. Rhea Clark told the Pregnant Then Screwed conference, while this is in part because Black and Asian women are more likely to be affected by social and economic problems, we need to talk about the fact Black women may not feel that they will be taken seriously, which might make them less likely to disclose how they are feeling. The National Health Service is one of the only truly universal services in the UK, used and staffed by a huge range of people. It has been intentionally underfunded for a decade by this government, creating a shortfall of 107,743 personnel in England, with 3,000 midwives leaving every year and health visitor services being either eliminated or privatized as a result. But even so, implicit bias must, argues Clark, still be actively challenged with an anti-racist stance and training. The second part is just as important. As an actress turned princess, Meghan Markle is, by definition, enigmatic. Most people will never meet her. She lives behind a wall of security and royal protocol. She is forced by her position to be as distant, unknowable, and neutral as any high-profile diplomatic figure or head of state. She is, therefore, a vacuum into which we can pour our every fear, hope, theory, and trauma. It doesn't take a huge amount of psychological insight to suggest that those people claiming she's faking symptoms and waddling around beneath a giant inflatable belly are, consciously or unconsciously, deeply unsettled and uncertain about their own bodies, fertility, status, intentions, and actions. To snipe, criticize, doubt, and attack a stranger during one of the most intimate and precarious periods of her life says far more about you, the slanderer, than her, the victim. Back to you, Antonio.
I wanted to bring this article to us because as of recent, I've seen this sort of notion of Meghan's fake pregnancies starting to heat up again on the social networks. And it really bothers me. I know people say, don't say anything, it will go away, but it bothers me to my core. That this tidal wave of skepticism and negativity that has been lapping at the shores of Meghan. Personal life reveals much about the undercurrent of our society's attitudes towards women of color and their pregnancy. It's deeply troubling to witness the insidious trend of questioning the authenticity of a Black woman's pregnancy, a moment that should be celebrated and supported, transformed into a subject of public debate and conspiracy theories. This article sheds light on the rise of disturbing search trends. Meghan Markle fake bump, which have seen a staggering increase of over 4,000% in recent months. This phenomena isn't just a celebrity gossip issue. It's a societal one, reflecting a grotesque intersection of racism, misogyny, and media sensationalism that disproportionately targets women of color. Let's consider the implications here. When society entertains unfounded rumors that a Black woman is faking her pregnancy, we're not just undermining her integrity. We are perpetrating a narrative that Black women are inherently deceitful. This toxic skepticism feeds into a larger pattern of distrust, and it dismantles that Black women face in healthcare and in every aspect of their lives, contributed to the tragic reality that Black women, not only in the UK, but in many parts of the world, have a high amount of death in childbirth than white women. The relentless spread of such rumors on social media platforms, which seem to be unchecked breeding grounds for hate and misinformation, only exacerbates this issue. These platforms have a responsibility to curb the spread of hate and protect the well-being of individuals. Yet they often fall short, and we know that, leading to the normalization of such destructive ideas. Moreover, by suggesting that a woman of color might be insincere about something as fundamental as bringing life into this world, you're echoing this terrible historical narrative that have long dehumanized Black bodies and questioned their experiences. This not only fuels the fires of racial animosity, but also exerts a psychological toll on Black women who are forced to navigate a world where their reality is constantly interrogated. It's poignant to remember that as this article hints, scientific evidence suggests that all humanity may trace its lineage back to a Black woman. Did you hear me? Am I clear? We come from a Black woman. Yet here we are, thousands of years later, still grappling with baseless prejudice and hatred. As a society, we must confront these dangerous notions head on. We should be championing diversity in our representations of pregnancy and motherhood, not casting doubt on them. And we should be holding social media platforms accountable for the role they play in either dismantling or perpetuating these harmful stereotypes. It's high time we recognize the weight of our words and the power of these platforms. We must move beyond passive strolling and actively engage in creating a more equitable and empathetic world where a woman's pregnancy, regardless of her skin color, is met with support, not suspicion, because it erodes the trust in this fundamental aspect of human life. Is to determine the very fabric of our shared humanity.
I feel strong when I hear your words. Right or wrong, I put you first. 'Cause there's something about a mother's eyes, full of truth. They tell no lies, and they say, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
I'm really happy we got to spend this time together. I went over an hour again, but I think I'll just let what happened happen. As I said, I've always wanted this to be sort of like a conversation, and sometimes conversations take turns and twists and all that kind of stuff. So in keeping it in that spirit, sometimes it might be 45 minutes, an hour, sometimes a little bit over an hour. I really hope that you got something out of today's podcast, even if it's the tiniest little thing. If it made you smile, if it made you feel a little bit scary at the beginning, or if it made you reflect and think. And especially for me, the last article, the continuous assault on women, and more so on women of color, disturbs me enormously. It hits me where it needs to hit me. And to deny any woman, but it happens more so to Black women, the child that they've given birth to, or the children that they've given birth to question is an insult. And it should be an insult to all of us. I appreciate each and every one of you. Love you all for being here. Thank you for your comments once again. It's taken some time to get to them and to respond because my workload has increased at work, so I'm trying my best. And thank you for being here again. Subscribe if this was your first time and you stuck around. If you like the content, you can check the other ones that I've posted and subscribed. It costs you nothing. And if you liked it, thumbs up. And if you would like to leave a comment, please do so. Just a reminder, if the comment is hateful or rude or looking to pick a fight with this community, I will remove you. Okay? Please spend your energy doing something more productive. Now, be kind to yourself. There's only one of you. Be kind to yourself. Your loved ones, they love it when you're kind to them. So be kind to your loved ones. And to the strangers you never will meet, or the ones that you pass by without knowing their name or anything of their history or their story, be kind to them. Take care, big kisses, and until we speak again.